This is the latest transmission from Echo Base Radio Blastland. Tune in now to Chapter 4 of Season 3 of Blastland. This chapter is titled The Descent into Vault 66. Keep an eye out for new Blastland podcasts on Good Pods.
Eva's pulse quickened as she stared at the massive steel door embedded in the mountainside. The worn number 66 barely visible under layers of dust and grime. Vault 66, long considered a myth, a ghost story whispered in the hidden corners of Blastland. But now, standing before it with Blastlander by her side, it was all too real. "Are you sure we're ready for this?" Ava whispered, her hand gripping the makeshift control panel. Blastlander's glowing eyes reflected the faint light from her vault board. The door let out a groan, then a deep rumble as the ancient mechanism shuddered to life. The mountain seemed to tremble as the door slowly parted, revealing a dark, narrow passage beyond. "We don't have a choice," Ava murmured. She adjusted her blast-safe suit, stepping forward. Blastlander, ever alert, took the lead, his paws silent against the cracked metallic floor. The corridor was lined with flickering emergency lights, barely illuminating their path, casting eerie shadows along the walls. Suddenly, a loud clank echoed through the passage. Blastlander froze, ears perked. Ava barely had time to react before a series of metal arms shot from the walls, automated defense systems long dormant, now reactivated by their intrusion. One arm swung toward them, razor-sharp claws gleaming. "Down!" Ava shouted, diving to the ground as Blastlander leaped, twisting mid-air to avoid the strike. The arm slammed into the wall, sparks flying as metal grated against metal. Another arm lashed out, this time aiming for Ava. Blastlander barked a warning and charged, his powerful jaws clamping down on the arm, yanking it off course just in time. Ava scrambled to her feet, her heart pounding. "Thanks, buddy," she panted, quickly analyzing the panel on her vault board. "We need to shut this down before it tears us apart." Blastlander growled, shaking off the remains of the arm, and darted toward a nearby control console. Ava sprinted after him, dodging another swinging blade as she jammed a multi-tool into the console's access port. Sparks flew, the console sputtered, and the arms retracted, their metal body slumping lifelessly to the ground. "Got it," she shouted, breathing heavily. But there was no time for relief. As the last of the traps powered down, a new sound emerged. A low, guttural growl from deep within the vault. Ava's blood ran cold. "Something's here," she whispered, her eyes locking with Blastlander's. His ears flattened, nose twitching as the sound grew louder. The two pressed on, following the dark, winding tunnel until it opened into a vast underground chamber. Rows of cryopods lined the walls, many shattered and empty. But in the center, something stirred. A massive, hulking figure, its form barely human, stood amidst the wreckage. It turned slowly, its glowing red eyes locking onto them. A mutated Vault 66 resident. Its body twisted and grotesque from years of radiation and isolation. "Ava, run!" Jack's voice crackled through her calms. But she didn't move. "Not this time," she muttered, drawing her weapon as Blastlander growled beside her, ready for the fight of their lives.
This podcast was made available by Echo Base Radio Blastland. Watch out for next podcasts at Good Pods. Follow us on Twitter and LinkedIn. And stay safe.